Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Kitsky. Well, time is running out. You have less than 32 hours to turn in your ballot. So far, over 11.8 million Californians have cast their ballot. Few things you need to know. Now, the first step is making sure you're registered to vote. If not, you have to conditionally register to vote on Election Day at your polling location. Your ballot will still be counted normally, but it will be one of the last ones counted. If you want to vote by mail, you have to already be registered to vote. The latest you can mail or drop off your ballot is November 3rd. So if you mail it, it has to be postmarked on or before Election Day. It then has 17 days to arrive at the elections office in downtown Bakersfield.
They have changed the deadline. Normally it has to be received by 3 days after Election Day, but in recent legislation, that's been pushed back to 17 days after Election Day.
If you don't bring it, you'll have to vote provisionally, which just means they'll count your vote once they verify that you didn't vote twice. But if you decide you'd like to vote in person, there's something you need to bring with you.
One thing they do have to keep in mind is that they would have to bring their vote-by-mail ballot to the poll site with them so that they turn that in, and then we will issue them a poll site ballot.
If you want to vote in person, you have to wait until Election Day and expect to see some long lines. You'll also need to verify your polling place beforehand. We have a link on our website at kget.com to look up your voting location. And voters in the Golden Empire continue to send in their ballots. Data from the Secretary of State's office shows more than 160,000 people in Kern County have sent in their ballots so far, accounting for roughly 35% of Kern registered voters. That is significant because with the latest figures, Kern has now surpassed all of the votes cast in the March 3rd primary. So far, the Kern County Elections Office has accepted 98.9% of the returned ballots, but did not accept a total of 1,712 of them, in large part because of several returned envelopes had missing voter signatures. Now, we'll have an update on those numbers ahead on 17 News at 5. And controversial words from the president at a rally in Michigan on Friday, appearing to call into question the validity of COVID-19 death rates.
You know, our doctors get more money if somebody dies from COVID. You know that, right? I mean, our doctors are very smart people. So what they do is they say, I'm sorry, but, you know, everybody dies of COVID. But in Germany and other places, if you have a heart attack or if you have cancer, you're terminally ill, you catch COVID, they say you died of cancer. You died of heart attack. With us, when in doubt, choose COVID.
The Associated Press says the virus death count has not been overstated due to doctors lying to get more money, and there has been no evidence of fraud. According to AP, more than 230,000 deaths from COVID-19 have been confirmed, and the true number is almost certainly higher by a considerable margin. And the pandemic is a major issue for both presidential campaigns and for voters. And over the weekend, a majority of states across the country set alarming new COVID records. As its testing lines grow, Wisconsin has seen more than 2,000 COVID deaths. October is the state's deadliest month yet. The U.S. topped 98,000 new COVID cases on Friday, a global record. And one day, nearly 1,000 Americans died. New York's governor announced new requirements that many travelers to the state must get tested within days of arriving or be forced to quarantine. Authorities shut down 2 massive Halloween parties over the weekend. And new COVID-19 data shows the virus is still spreading in Kern, but we're not seeing a spike like the rest of the country. Public Health reports 106 new cases today. That is above our daily average over the past week. However, state data shows the spread is likely stable. No new deaths were reported, but we have lost 424 lives to this disease. Over 9,000 people are recovering from the virus at home, while just 2 people are in the hospital. That's the lowest number of hospitalizations we've seen since the beginning of the pandemic. More than 34,000 people have been infected with COVID-19 in Kern County. Now, when your Crime Watch, a search continues this afternoon for two men involved in a shooting at a park in Wasco. Deputies and emergency crews were called to the area of Broadway and 15th Streets at around 8:25 Saturday night for reports of a shooting. Two men were found with gunshot wounds at Southgate Park. First responders rushed them to Kern Medical with non-life-threatening injuries. KCSO said they're looking for two men in their early 20s wearing blue bandanas. They fled in a black older model Buick. And a man was seriously injured in another shooting Saturday night, this time in Lake Isabella. Sheriff's deputies responded to a report of a shooting in the area of Cypress Avenue near Mobile Drive just after 8:30. When deputies arrived, they found a man there with a gunshot wound. The victim was taken to a local hospital for treatment. At first, authorities said he was in critical condition. KCSO later said he stabilized and was able to leave the hospital. The department said they don't have any information about a shooter. Anyone with information about either of these shootings is urged to contact KCSO at 861-3110. And a 30-year-old man is dead after crashing a motorcycle. According to California Highway Patrol, Cody Andrew DeArmor was killed just before 11:15 a.m. yesterday while riding a motorcycle on Allen Road south of Hedgeman Road. CHP says DeArmor made an unsafe turn and drove off the roadway, hitting a power pole. He was ejected from the motorcycle and pronounced dead at the scene. Alcohol or drugs do not appear to be involved. And two women were killed in two separate rollover crashes this weekend. A 37-year-old woman was killed last night in a rollover crash along Highway 58. It happened at the Oswell Street off-ramp. The California Highway Patrol says the woman was driving westbound on Highway 58 and for unknown reasons traveled off the north road edge and down into an embankment, sliding down until hitting a chain link fence. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Her identity has yet to be released. Officials say alcohol and drugs do not appear to be a factor. And 27-year-old Darren Marie Pryor was killed in a crash in Kernville, and two toddlers were hospitalized with moderate injuries. CHP says it happened just after 4:30 yesterday afternoon on Burlando Road, just north of Plater Road. CHP says Pryor was driving northbound on Burlando and for unknown reasons drifted into the shoulder, overcorrected, and rolled the vehicle onto the roadway. She was ejected from the vehicle and pronounced dead at the scene. CHP says alcohol and drugs don't appear to be factors. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. In Bakersfield Family Medical Center, Heritage Provider Network is hosting a series of drive-through events for local seniors. Now, this morning, those aged 65 and older were encouraged to drive up for some free coffee and a donut. Multiple events are scheduled throughout the month, including free arts and crafts days, the first of which is this Friday. Medical staff will be available for any questions participants may have, and you do not need to be a BFMC HPN member. Reservations are required. Call 486-4852. Also today, Urbane Cafe is opening its second Bakersfield location. Now, the restaurant is located on California Avenue next to the new California Fish Grill. For its grand opening, Urbane Cafe will offer free meals. They'll also be matching funds donated by patrons in support of OMAT Academy, a summer learning program for students, and the United Way of Kern County. Urbane Cafe is a chain that serves sandwiches, salads, and soups. Their first location in Bakersfield opened on Mount Vernon Avenue, just off the 178. And all month long, you can run to support League of Dreams. This year's Autism on the Run event has went virtual amid the pandemic, but that doesn't mean you can't run or walk to raise money. The family-friendly 2K and 5K kicked off yesterday. Now you can complete the challenge anywhere during the month. A live stream raffle and ceremony will happen this Saturday. Also this week, registration and enrollment for Bakersfield College's spring 2021 semester begins. Registration opens on Wednesday. BC said returning students will need to complete an update form by logging into their Inside BC account to get a registration date and time. First-time students can enroll by visiting the Bakersfield College website. The semester will mostly take place online because of the pandemic, and it starts on January 16th.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to KGET.com.